Welcome to Awkwardish. My name is Ruby, and I'm a blogger, and podcaster who focuses on mental health, substance abuse, domestic violence, and pretty much anything under the sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get started. Hey Awkward fam, it's Ruby. Before we get into today's episode, I want to invite you to take a slow breath with me. Just in and out. Today's conversation is sensitive. I'm going to be talking about domestic violence, and not graphic details, not stories, but the misconceptions that harm survivors and the truths they wish people understood. Sorry about that. If at any point you need to pause, step away, or come back later, please honor that. Your nervous system gets to be in charge here. Alright, let's begin. Domestic violence is so much more common than people realize. And yet, survivors are often misunderstood, judged, or questioned in ways that add more harm on top of the harm they've already lived through. This episode isn't about telling anyone's story. It's about shifting perspective so we can show up with more compassion, more awareness, and more humanity. So we'll start with the first misconception. Why didn't they just leave? This is the big one. And it's one of the most painful questions a survivor can hear. Leaving is a process, and often a dangerous one. For many survivors, the risk of violence actually increases when they try to leave. In fact, it's a well-known fact that that first year after leaving an abusive partner, your risk of dying by their hand increases exponentially. On top of that, there's financial entrapment, emotional manipulation, and something people don't talk about enough, social entrapment. Social entrapment is actually a new concept to me. It goes beyond isolation. It's when an abuser doesn't just control the survivor, but they control the social world around them. They turn friends or family against them. They damage their reputation. They make them feel like no one else will believe them. They also create conflict with the very people who might help. So imagine trying to leave, but feeling like the entire world has been shaped to work against you. Leaving doesn't feel like freedom in that case. It feels like stepping into a world where you have no safety net. And sometimes it's easier to stay with the devil you know. Survival strategy, and survivors are doing the best they can with the resources and safety they have. Misconception number 2. They don't look like someone who's being abused. People have this idea that abuse always looks like bruises or black eyes. But survivors are often some of the most high-functioning people you ever meet. They're working, they're parenting, they're showing up, they're smiling in photos, they're cracking jokes. They're doing everything they can to keep life moving. Masking is a survival skill, and trauma hides in plain sight. And I'm just gonna veer away from my notes real quick because this reminds me of something my ex-husband used to say. He didn't consider what he did to be abuse because I wasn't walking around with a black eye all the time. But he did other things like punch a hole into the wall next to my head, spit on me, put his hands around my throat. But he had decided that only this one particular thing was abuse. So of course he wasn't abusive. Of course it was ridiculous that he could be an abuser. And yeah, living with someone telling you that can make you feel like you're losing your mind. So that's just my little sidebar. Misconception number 3. If it was that bad, they would have told someone. Silence is not proof of safety. Silence is often self-protection. Survivors stay quiet because they're afraid of not being believed, because they've been shamed or blamed before, because their culture or family tells them to keep things private, because retelling the story is exhausting and re-traumatizing. Sometimes the safest thing a survivor can do is say nothing. Let's talk about what survivors carry long after the relationship ends. Hypervigilance, which is always scanning for danger. Difficulty trusting, even people who are safe. Rebuilding a sense of safety in their own body. Grieving the version of themselves who didn't know harm, who they were before the abuse. Learning how to love again, slowly, gently, on their own terms. Healing isn't linear. Some days feel like progress, some days feel like starting over, some days you feel like you've taken many, many steps back, and all of it's valid. So here's what survivors often wish people understood. Believe them the first time. Don't pressure them to leave before they're ready. Ask, how can I support you right now? Offer small, tangible help. Rides, meals, childcare, a safe place to sit. Respect their boundaries. Celebrate their small steps. Understand that healing takes time, and that time is sacred. So if you take anything from this episode, please let it be, check on the people you love. Educate yourself on trauma-informed support. Be someone who listens without judgment. And if you're a survivor, your pace is yours. Your safety matters. Your story is yours to tell, or not tell. So let's close with one more breath. In and out. You deserve safety. You deserve softness. You deserve a life that honors your spirit. Thank you for holding the space with me today, and I'll see you next week.